Hello everybody and welcome to Front Row Racing on this wonderfully, miserably rainy Thursday evening. I'm Front Row Racing DP, and in the commentary box I've got Coming to Get You tonight as we get ready for the Front Row Racing World Series Reserves, round 20 from Brazil. Coming to Get You, I'm not sure if you mentioned to me a little while ago that you were able to see a little bit of last night's race, and considering you saw that, what are you expecting from the World Series Reserves tonight here in Brazil?
Hello guys, good to be here again. As DP just said, yes, I got a nice little showcase of what was in store with us with the WCR last night. And if these guys can bring anything of a spectacular race we saw, or spectacle of a race we saw last night, I think we're in one hell of a showing from the WSR guys tonight. It's a track that's short, tight, sweet. Aero can be crucial in the middle. There's some straights there. Wow, the long curve straight could be interesting on aero for these guys, but I'm looking forward to commentating on what I perceive to be a spectacular race here in Brazil, DP.
Yeah, hopefully it will be. A lot to live up to compared to last night. And in a moment we'll have a quick run through the drivers. We may have a few missing tonight, and we've sent invites out to those drivers that are waiting in the wings, a few new drivers potentially. But Coming to Get You, if you would like to have a quick run through the drivers for us, please.
Yeah, no worries. So we're now looking at the Mercedes drivers, top of the list. In those cars this evening, we have Willow Wolves and Tyler R 2003, two drivers that have shown good pace, so a couple of drivers to keep an eye on. Moving on down to the Ferrari guys. This evening we have Schumi Garcia, a strong candidate, can put in some good results when he wants to, but driving alongside him is Curly Wurly, a man we all know everything about. I don't think words can explain what this guy can deliver. Moving on to Williams, we have the Twist Royalty and Drew teaming up in that car. I believe they are teammates in this division, so I'm expecting a good show from these two. Should be interesting. Moving on to Red Bull, we have the comms man himself, Lord JB, filling out Red Bull all on his own this evening. Moving on to Force India, a new guy. I believe it's pronounced Wan Kwa. I could be wrong. DP will correct me later. Be interesting to see what this gentleman brings to the race we have ahead of us tonight. Moving on to Renault, we all know this man, Caribbean Crush, interesting. A few ups and downs lately. See what this man can deliver this evening if he gets a clean shot and a clear run. Alongside him, Danny Railton. Two guys I believe have paired up, two guys to keep an eye on as we go throughout this race. Moving on to Toro Rosso, we have Box 190. Again, single-handedly seeing what he can do in the Toro Rosso this evening. Had his first outing in Mexico, did pretty good, a bit tentative, so I'm hoping the guy settles in a little bit better this evening and delivers here in Brazil. Moving on to Sauber, two new drivers. Wow, one made his debut last time out in Mexico, I believe. That'd be Nuts Bumfluff. And next to him is Maznat 87, I believe. So new guy to the track, see what he delivers. One to keep an eye on because we know nothing about him. McLaren Manor are empty this evening. As DP said, we're a little short on numbers, but hopefully they're bringing an exciting race for us. Moving on to last but not least Haas, we have our man Gonk, a guy that's sort of mid when he wants to deliver can. Sometimes at the back, depends what type of mood he's in, I suppose. So that foresees all the teams, all the drivers. What are we doing now, DP? Go into the track, or is there anything else you would like to add?
No, we'll send the drivers over to the track. I mean, I think it was 28 drivers effectively signed up for tonight's race, and we may still have a few join shortly. But it is the World Series Reserves race, so there's no requirement for drivers to attend. But obviously, if they want to be picked as a reserve in the World Series for any of those guys, then yeah, attending makes all the difference. But we are about to send the drivers over to the Autodromo Jose Carlos Carlos Pache, a fantastic racetrack, one that I love, although it can bring some interesting weather, as yesterday's race showed. If it's going to rain here, it never tends to really rain light. It tends to be a full-on race-affecting weather condition, regardless of when the rain comes, whether it's qualifying or the race itself. Tyres available for the drivers today is the soft compound, the medium compound and the hard compound, with the medium and the hard being the mandatory tyre. However, if we have any wet weather for the race, mandatory tyre goes out of the window. Now, something that I touched on yesterday, Dave, was if there is rain, I nearly said rain and wet weather. If there is wet weather in the race and the mandatory tyre choice goes out the window, do you think it's better to use multiple soft compounds or try and stretch out mediums or hards?
I'm going to start with, I don't know whether you're actually trying to give me a tip there, DP, after my last event in Mexico.
No, I wasn't.
No, it could be a mixture, because I believe I brought it up as we were going through the intro. It's a track where the middle sector is crucial for downforce, but you've got that long last sector and that fast flat out first sector, so it depends on setup. But from my own point of view, if the rain's going to come,
which it is doing already. Well, I tell you what, it's raining at the moment and my car's got intermediate tyres on, but it says that the rain is going to dry up in about 10 minutes time, which in qualifying could be crucial. Let's see what it's going to do. So yeah, in 10-15 minutes it's going to dry up, and for the race it's going to be a wet start to the race, with it getting sunnier and sunnier. So we're definitely in for potentially an interesting session here. So yeah, I mean, would you go, right, okay, the drivers now know they're in a wet session for qualifying, it's going to rain at the start of the race. They've got to be thinking already, and this is the sign, I think, of your top quality drivers, of what am I going to do when the rain stops? Am I going to put on a set of soft tyres and be as quick as I can, knowing I'm going to have to pit again? Or am I going to try and stretch out a set of mediums or try and stretch out a set of hards?
I don't know, DP, you're asking the wrong man. No, but...
Go on.
Go. All I was going to say was...
All I was going to say...
It's going wrong! Where's Bleeding Sunrise? No, it's more, if I was these guys, I'd be out seeing what the conditions are right now, because they're heading into a start of a race that, wow, you don't know what's going to happen from. I believe we may have just lost Will JB for a crash. He's lost his left rear tyre. Wow.
Is that in the pit lane?
No, would you believe it? I believe he's come off turn 5, may have took a bit too much curb, and I see a Red Bull with no left rear.
Oh dear, oh dear. Now I do know the pit lane here, the pit exit. Last season we realised it had the potential of claiming a few victims, but I'm on board with Gonk, who's just come round Young Cow and he's about to start his first flying lap on the intermediate tyres. Oh, and it's ever so twitchy up at the top of the Aquibancadas as he heads towards the start finish line. So let's see how he gets on now, heading up to turn 1 into the centre. S is braking nice and early. Assists are allowed in the World Series and the World Series Reserve, so I doubt we're going to see much locking up, but Gonk looks like he's taking it ever so cautiously, but he is the first to start putting a lap in, so it's all new territory for him right now. Coming to the end of Sector 1 with a time of a 20.023, and again ever so cautious into Decido del Lago. Now through turn 5 and heading up towards Ferradura, a corner that's ever so difficult in these conditions. Once again he's braking early and taking it cautious, spotting where he's going to pick his apex. I think this is a bit of a banker lap for him, to be honest, as he now makes his way down towards Pinarino.
It's looking a bit tentative from himself there. I'm on board with the same man. Curious what this man can do. I've just had a nose behind him. We have one of our new boys, Mets Nat, who's just done a 19.8 DP. A little bit of update for you. Back on board with Gonk, coming through down to the final sector now. It's like you said, I reckon this is a banker, maybe DP. I'll throw this out there. This man may have full fuel on, seeing what conditions will be like at the start of the race.
He might do.
So,
I mean, it's ever so twitchy again at the top of the hill for him. I mean, you could be right. There'd be nothing wrong with the driver putting full fuel on to see what it's going to be like. But it is provisional pole for him. Let's see if I can get on board with Maznat quickly as he's heading up towards Junção now. Slightly quicker in Sector 2, a 42.945. I mean, yeah. I mean, Dave, is it something that you'd potentially do in this situation? Have you done it before?
Right, I quit because you're getting all my tips out of me. No, if I'm honest, as a WC driver, it's best if you're going into conditions. Magnat's put himself second with a 21.9 there. But yeah, it's something I would do because it's precarious conditions. You want to be at the best. You want to have all the conditions, the feel of the car underneath you at the start of the race with all that weight. But at the same time, you want to be pushing with the track drying out later, trying to get a feel of those conditions to get as far up the grid as you can. So, depends on the driver, depends on the setup. Me, I'd be doing exactly what you just said. Build a car up, boss, and I'm going to go, ooh, Magnat's having a bit of a moment. I'd go out there, fill it up, and see what I've got underneath me ready for the race.
Fair enough. I mean, Curly Wurly, he's about to cross the line and take provisional pole. Does he know his lap must have been invalidated because his sector times are very, very good. Let's see if we can jump on board with one of the new guys, perhaps. We did see Maznat a little bit. Juan going through turn 1 and 2. Sector times not particularly great at the moment. Car looks like he's drifting around turn 2. Wherever he's from, maybe that's how they prefer to drive. Heading down now, 19.9 sector 1. That was quicker than we saw Gonk do, but again the car's looking a little bit out of control, and I'm tempted to stay on board to wait for a crash, but if it happens and it affects the audio, it's going to mess everything up. I mean, you talked a little bit, Dave, about, he's ever so twitchy again. Yeah, I think that lap's going to be a bit of a slow one. See if we can get on board with someone that's going to be a little bit more competitive, perhaps. Caribbean Crush going on for another flying lap by the looks of it. Yeah, Dave, you were talking a little bit about aeros and having the setup right. I mean, I mentioned yesterday that Brazil, it's a tricky one, as Caribbean Crush does a fantastic 19.4 sector 1. So something that the drivers will find. 2 points here. One about the aeros, again, it is crucial, but 2, in these conditions you've got to fuel it for 2, 3, 4 laps, haven't you, to give yourself a chance to find out the braking points, the throttle points.
That is exactly right, DP. If you're not willing to do that, you're throwing all your eggs in one basket, and as we've seen from the conditions, this qualifying session is meant to dry out, so it's well worth getting in there. Throw a few bankers on, because Brazil is known that sometimes when it dries snap, 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 but sometimes it can take so long that it's well worth doing what you said. Get some fuel in the car and keep going and going and going, because that way you're out on track at the right time to possibly take pole at the right time.
Exactly. I mean, this thing, to a degree, I mean, if it was going to stay these conditions for the whole session, really, you'd probably think about, as Caribbean Crush has been dropped down to second place. Let's see, Curly Wurly has gone and stolen pole position and has also done another 19.3 sector 1 time, so I'm going to stay on board with him for the moment. Yeah, I mean, if the condition were going to stay like this, I'd bolt on a set of inters to start off with, go and do a number of laps, and then bolt on a brand new set and look to improve on it. But if the rain is due to stop any moment within the next couple of minutes, then these drivers may want to just look at doing laps until that rain stops, as Curly Wurly does go pole position, improves on his lap time a little bit. Let's see who else we have out there. Twist Royalty just come through the end of sector 2. I was wondering, Dave, who you've got an eye on at the moment.
Well, at the moment, I've just jumped on board with Tyler as we speak. He's come through sector 1. He's done a 19.7, which is a little bit off the pace, but given the conditions, we don't know setup at this point. The race will reveal more. But no, and from his point of view, as you said about the rain, DP, it is easing as we speak, and we've got 10 minutes to go. Drivers are looking a bit tentative as I skip through to Tyler, and I reckon we're in for a mad dash. Who's the guy that's going to throw him on at the right time and get out there and be brave?
I think you could be right, because looking from Tyler's screen on my view, it doesn't look like it's actually raining anymore.
No, if anything, it might be just a bit of spray kicking up on the camera lens, and his car's looking very, very loose. I think the grip's just going. We've got enough spray to keep going. If I was Tyler, I'd push for one more lap, maybe two more. Then I would know where I sit with conditions going forward, and I'm sure I'd find out if it was ready for slicks rather than sitting in the pits, waiting to take a chance. Just to inform you, Tyler, 122.7, he's put himself in fifth. Good start.
Yep, I'm going to just follow him through the rest of Sector 1, see if he improves at all, because it almost sounds like he's pushing the car a little bit harder, while Dave has a quick look around, see who else is potentially on decent laps. Tyler has improved on that Sector 1 by a tenth, done a 19.6.
Looking good. Well, I've just flicked through the field. Willow Wolves looking to go for a second flying lap, but I've just jumped aboard with Madsnat. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He's actually on an outlap PP on another set of inters, so I think this man's listening to the broadcast and picking up on your tips as we go.
Quite possibly. Well, keep an eye on him. Give me a shout when he's about to start his flying lap, and we'll jump on board with him. Because, I mean, if it is still clearly intermediate tyre conditions, and you may be better off being on a brand new set of intermediates right now, bearing in mind that potentially in about 3-4 minutes' time, this track could be ready for slicks. It depends on how much the sun comes out. Tyler's improved on his Sector 2 time quite nicely, as he's now heading up the hill, car getting a little bit twitchy. And this is touching about the aerodynamics and the setup. You don't want to be too low on aeros here, but you also don't want to be too high. But at the same time, in these conditions, as Tyler stays fifth, I think he improved his lap time though. Yeah, in these kind of
Mads, sorry to interrupt, BP. He started his lap. He's coming up to Sector 1 as we speak. I don't know if you want to jump on board with him.
I'll jump on board with him right now, mate. which means I'm already on board with him.
Yeah, there's a reason. He looked very tentative, and I'm starting to wonder now, is it just getting too dry for the inters, because he's set a 120.1. I know he's new, maybe just settling in, but he's looking comfortable, but the car looks skipping and scopping. It doesn't look like if he's got front end grip or rear. The car looks a bit lost at this time.
I mean, if you can, try and explain that for anyone that's watching that doesn't really quite understand it. But, I mean, it's clearly not slick tyre conditions, but what effect do the intermediate tyres go through when it gets to that phase of it's not the right condition for them?
Well, as DP keeps hinting, I believe he's still bringing up my Mexico performance.
I'm going to get onto that fully in a moment, don't you worry.
Yeah, what it is, what you're looking for is, when the rain stops coming, it's simple. There's tread blocks in these tyres for a reason. They need to clear water. That's why they're there as he comes into the pits. If it's not clearing water and there's not enough water there, it's creating too much friction, which then can pump heat into the tyres, which then they're starting to come out of their working range, because these tyres are specifically designed for working wet to dry situations. And if you're lighting tyres up or not finding brake points and locking up, you're going to compromise your tyres, and they're just going to overheat, lock up, flat spot. So your car then loses its balance, and then you've got a rear end where you may have red hot tyres that just can't find the bite, and you've got front end that grip. So then you start to get snaps of oversteer, but then it can go the other way. Too much brake pressure on the front, pumping too much heat into it. You can transfer it into understeer. So that's where the balance comes from, and you've really got to pay attention to what your car and the tyres are doing through these tricky conditions, or you could find yourself going from first. Well, I'll use an example. A-Cut in the WC, a quality driver. He seems to be able to out-qualify any of us top dogs in there, if you will. But come the race in these conditions, he finds himself going backwards a lot. Maybe because he's going through what I've just talked about, quite possibly. So
also maybe because if he's running very low aeros to give himself the best possibility in qualifying, comes to the race with a heavier fuel and damp conditions, and all of a sudden it's a much more difficult for him.
It is, and if your brake pressures are too high or not enough, you've got to have there's a fine line between having the car working balanced and perfect to relying on one aspect more than the other. So if you're relying on your brakes and your mechanical grip and haven't got the aero there, that's where your tyres are being overworked. They've got to find grip that the car could help you do by squashing it into the tarmac. So it's a real fine line, tricky to explain, but I hope that gives a little bit of insight to anybody going through this today in conditions or future races.
Yep, hopefully. Okay, Caribbean Crush has come out on a brand new set of intermediate tyres. He's gone for another flying lap and he's done a 19.3 Sector 1 time. So he may have come out on slightly lower fuel, but I've got a feeling, you know, it's not actually going to get dry enough for slick tyres, or it could be a right cut-off. We're going to have to keep an eye out for drivers that are going to try it.
Gonk is now on medium tyres on an outlap. A little bit slow and tentative. I can't see much spray. Is he going to continue? Might be well worth jumping on board with him to see what he can do in the tricky conditions.
I will jump on board with him in a moment. Oh, Caribbean Crush! That's his session over. Apologies for the loss of audio there, so we'll jump on board with Gonk now. But yeah, blame Caribbean Crush on his intermediate tyres, showing exactly what my co-commentator was on about with the intermediate tyres being out of their working range now. But I mean, for Gonk, he may have called this about right. You know, he's got a car ahead of him though, and I think that might be Box, who's still running on intermediate tyres. But yeah, Gonk may have called this right. Get a banker lap in now on the dry tyre. He's going to have another 2 or 3 laps potentially to try and do it. It's a slow Sector 1, but he's going to have to build up to the grip in the tyres.
Yeah, I think what you're explaining there is bang on, DP. I think if anyone's called this right, I just saw Williams coming out pits. I don't know if you want to have a look if that was Twist or his teammate, Drew, I believe. But this is the time. If you're going to take the chance, do it now. You've got 3 minutes. You've got about 2-3 laps worth of time to get in. Keep going around and around. You'll feel the car to come back to you, and if it's not working, it won't work. But you're the guy that's on the right tyres at the right time to see if it does.
Exactly, and changeable conditions are such a difficult situation for a driver to cope with, to deal with, and to make that right tyre choice. You know we're getting on to Mexico now, Dave.
Hang on, DP. I've just got to take a brief luxury break on the back.
Yeah. But, I mean, okay, for anyone that doesn't know, in the World Championship race last week in Mexico, coming to get you here was leading the race, doing a fantastic job, got a puncture on the intermediates, and then pitted for the soft compound tyre, I think it was, and then ended up crashing into a barrier. And those that stayed on the intermediates did quite well. I mean, what were your thoughts after that one there, Dave?
I believe it's not past Watershed yet, so I cannot pass my views at present. But no, it's one of those things. To be fair, I was out in front, and as far as I could see, I don't know about anybody else, I wasn't being touched that race. So I thought, instead of racing my competitors, I'll race the weather. Never race the weather, guys. Race what's in front of you. Deal with what you've got in front of you. Don't try and take chances, because I threw away 25 points, and I ended up not finishing through a pit crew error, I will add that, and my own terrible mistakes on track. So it's one of those things. But yeah, moving on. That's the sort of subject, DP.
That's all right.
Left, and people are out on slicks as we speak, softs and mediums.
Yep, well, I've stayed on board with Gonk. Oh no, he's lost it. That's he was actually on quite a nice little lap there, but unfortunately that's his session over. Let's see, Juan, he's out there on a set of soft compound tyres. Once again, no apologies for the lack of audio at the moment, or the doubled audio, folks. Blame Caribbean Crush on that one. Let's see how Juan's going to get on his first flying lap in front of racing on a set of dry tyres then. But yeah, I mean, question of the day as well. I haven't really done question of the day yet, and before we came live, I did say to Coming to Get, I said, right, we've got a choice of a couple. One of them is how many curse words did Coming to Get you use once he had his crash at Mexico, and the other is the question of the day that I'm actually going to do, because I think the answer is going to be about the same in number value. So today's question of the day is, what is the elevation change here at Brazil? So if you think you want to have a crack at the answer to that one, pop it into the YouTube comments, and we'll go through the answer during the podium interviews at the end. Juan has done a 19.1 Sector 1 time. Not too bad, but only a couple of attempts quicker than people on intermediate tyres. Is anybody else out there flying at the moment, Dave?
Yeah, I've just jumped on board with the gentleman made his debut last week. That would be Nuts Bum Fluff. He is actually going purple in every sector. We've got an 18.8 Sector 1, 40.4 Sector 2, which is purple by nearly a second. He's going to take provisional pole, and I believe the likes of Curly Willy and others are on those same soft compound tyres, but he's coming up to the line, taking the shortest line. It's a 17.3, quite good in the conditions. So it's a case of now, the last man across the line should take pole. given the conditions. And Nuts, I believe, left himself just enough time to be that last man.
He did. Curly Wurly is on a flying lap at the moment, heading through Sector 1 now, and he's actually just ahead of Nuts Bumfluff. So let's see how Curly Wurly is going to get on. I won't be able to see the sector times, but let's see. 18.2, that's pretty nice then. He's currently sitting in 5th place, as a few drivers have improved, but I think it'd be fair to say we'd expect the likes of Curly Wurly to potentially get himself up there on the front row or two, wouldn't we?
Well, if not, given his his ability, shall we say, and his talent, he's in the assist side as we speak today. But I've raced up against the guy, and I'm putting my money on Curly Wurly because he's a guy that should be in the WC. Hopefully, see him there one day. But he's the man for pole today, with Caribbean Crush crashing out, and I believe they're just coming up to finish their laps now, DP. So let's see how this unfolds.
Yep, he's getting a nice slipstream here as well off Willow Wolves. That's going to help him massively. It is provisional pole position. I mean, the even more painful thing for Caribbean Crush is that he never had the chance to put a dry tyre run in. So not only has he crashed out of the session, but potentially he's going to be way down the qualifying order because of drivers being out there on the dry tyres and being able to get their final laps in.
The only good thing to come from that, I may have missed you mention it, was the guy gets to pick his tyres. And I know, well, we're going into wet conditions anyway, that if it's a dry start, which it could possibly be, we don't know what Codemasters do with their weather, he could whack on a fresh set of softs and absolutely try and obliterate the field while we go ahead. But you never know what the other guys are going to be doing. But they've had to run these slick tyres now in the changeable conditions, so interesting to see what happens at the start of the race.
Definitely. In a few moments' time, once we've started the formation lap, I'll have to jump out of the lobby to come back in to catch the start of the race. And if we do happen to have any lobby problems at that time, we have to do a restart. We will just do it with a quick one-shot quali rather than trying to sort out a safety car restart just for time purposes. Us big old fat boys have got to get our dinners at some point. And in a moment, we'll run through the qualifying order. But, I mean, we talked a little bit about the difficulties of the conditions there, and I mean they were difficult conditions for all of the drivers. And I mean, can you really take that much from that type of qualifying session?
I could. You can only take a pinch of salt because, again, it's a different side. It's the assist side. Setups can be slightly different, but as I said, when going out, if I was in this session, I would have gone fuel and tested what was what and gone from there. But I'd say no. We'd have to sort of wait for the start of the race. DP, would you like me to fire through the order?
It's alright, I shall have a quick run through it. So Curly Wurly on pole position then, with Nuts Bumfluff in 2nd place. Danny Roughton got himself up to 3rd. Tyler in 4th. Maznat 5th and Gonk in 6th. Juan got himself up to 7th. Gonk went for the medium tyres, as we know as well. Twitch Royalty 8th. Caribbean Crush 9th. So a few drivers that didn't get a lap in on their inters. So Caribbean Crush, then Willow Wolves, Drew Box, Lord JB and Shumi Garcia. And obviously I'm Loki appeared to join us as well. And if it is a wet start to the race, I mean, that's not going to help Caribbean Crush out at all. If it's a dry start to the race, it will, apart from the fact that it says it's going to rain fairly quickly.
Oh yes, and I believe Brazil is our favourite track, where she's a beaut and she never allows you to know when she's going to pour or dry up. She's a tricky track to get to know.
That is true. It is raining though. It is the intermediate tyres as we get ready for the Front Row Racing World Series Reserves. And as I said, I'm going to have to jump out of the lobby in a moment, showing me 3 stops or 4 stops on intermediate tyres, but also it's showing rain for only the first portion of the race. So as the drivers get ready then to start their formation lap, I mean, major key points from how this race could pan out is going to be how the drivers deal with these conditions at the start of the race, but also that crossover point of when it starts to dry up a little bit and picking the right time to get onto dry tyres, because if they get it right they could gain masses amount of time. If they get it wrong they could lose masses amount of time. It's going to be absolutely vital and absolutely crucial.
That it is indeed, as we've seen from previous races throughout this epic front row racing season from both sides. If you don't call it right, I believe I said it in qualifying and I will say it again, Curly Wurly leading the race. One missed call, one bad judgment, he could find himself all the way back at the back of the grid, being eaten alive by drivers to make the right call at the right time.
Definitely. Just as the drivers are on their formation lap as well, quickly mention that if you are interested in getting involved in front row racing, come and check out the front row racing Facebook page. Also check out the pinned post on the Facebook page at the moment, which is advertising for FRR admins, mainly from the drivers already involved in front row racing, but there's quite a bit of information on there and a bit of information about going forward into future seasons, because obviously we're on round 20 of 21 in the reserves, so there's only Brazil and Abu Dhabi to go, and that's the same for the World Championship and the World Series. So with two races left for each of the divisions, not long to go until we get to season end. But the drivers are now beginning to form up on the grid, and what a grid we've got. It's going to be interesting to see if Caribbean Crush can get through the first few laps without any major dramas and fight his way towards the front. We saw him try and do it in Mexico and was caught out by lag from Danny Railton, I think it was, when he was showing absolutely phenomenal pace. So last cars pulling up on the grid then, and I will try and get back on board with Curly Wurly as quickly as I can. There we go. So as we wait for the lights then, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, it's time to get busy in Brazil. Oh, we've got a major jump start from a Renault, and Curly Wurly's been hit by them. Curly Wurly has been disqualified. That is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not sure who it was in that Renault. That was Danny Railton. Oh, so Danny Railton, who I think was disconnected during qualifying, came back in. He went when his lights went, obviously not aware of the problem that disconnected during qualifying has, but he made contact with the back of Curly Wurly. Curly Wurly out of the race.
Yeah, just a little bit of update for you, DP, from the back there. It was not just the Renault you may have caught having a jump start. There was a Manor at the back as well, which I'm just trying to feed you some information of who that was.
I'm guessing it was Loki. Yep.
May have jumped the start, and unfortunately, as DP said, Curly Wurly's been disqualified.
I mean, the disconnecting during qualifying, it's something that, I mean, F1 2016 has been out for quite some time now. It is something that everybody should be aware of, really, that if you disconnect during qualifying, you can't just go when your lights go out, because your lights go out before everybody else's do. You do have to be aware of that. Danny Railton, though, I mean, he's leading the race now, and unfortunately he's not going to get a jump start penalty. However, if this was a World Series event, he would be able to be reported for a jump start and penalised for it. We've got a Sauber into the pits.
Wow, I would just like to point out for the viewers, please stay tuned for this race, because with the likes of Curly Wurly out of this race, Caribbean Crush down, I'm Loki, DNF now, this race is absolutely blown wide open. We don't know who, what, where, when's going to happen between all these drivers. We're normally used to seeing those drivers up there fighting. This gives everybody a chance for their first win in this event. So look forward to seeing who comes out on top today, DP.
Definitely. The devastating thing, though, for Curly Wurly is that, I mean, he's done absolutely nothing wrong. He's sat there waiting for the lights to go out. Next thing he knows, he's been hit from behind and he's been disqualified, as I think Twist Royalty's car has just lagged massively and made contact with Lord JB, but he's managed to get away with it.
Lord JB?
Yep.
Ooh. That's not nice, bit of lag. So one of those things we have to keep an eye on, but...
sorry, it wasn't Twist Royalty, it might have been Drew that had the lag there.
Okay, sorry, I was just curious, because I was on board with Twist, and he's actually around the back of Mads, so... Mads Met, so interesting. The new guy is up there fighting for a podium already.
He is, and Tyler, he's right on the back of Danny Railton as well. I mean... excuse me, Tyler's got a good opportunity of making a move here, but I mean, if Danny gets to the podium at the end of the race, obviously it'd be interesting to see what he has to say about it. I'm going to have to apologise, man. I need to just grab myself a drink. Dave, if you want to take over for a second.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just on board with Caribbean Crush, but I'm going to go back up to the front and see what's going on up there for you guys. So I'm currently on board with Twist. It's looking quite hectic up here. I hope DP's got the cameras up here. We've got 4-car train, Renault leading it, and as I said, these 4 drivers, bar Twist, have never been in this position before, so they're all going to be going hell for leather trying to get their first win. We've got the Mercedes trying to go around the outside. Who would that be? Tyler trying it, not quite succeed. Ooh, Twist, whoa! Big contact. Sauber and Williams still going. Twist went for a late move there. These conditions a bit tricky, but he carried on in that situation. Might be wise to let him through, but this is the reserves. All fair game, but it's something that needs to be looked at and considered for the actual events if you make it. But bit of a manic move there by Twist, but we're looking good. The Mercedes up front, I believe that to be Tyler, looking to line up Danny Relton as we speak.
He is trying to do that. Yeah, he is trying to do that. Apologies for having to jump off a second there. I may have to do it again in a moment. As Tyler is really trying to get in that slipstream with Danny Relton, and I have seen a couple of comments on YouTube that I want to get onto in a few moments' time as Tyler goes up the inside into turn 1.
That was beautiful. That was a bit of Tyler throwing it up there, and Danny Relton seeing it coming late and giving him the bit of access room he needed. So that's great by both. That's what it takes to make great racing. With Twist now lining up Danny Relton in the slipstream. Is he going to make a move down into turn 4? It seems that Danny Relton's got some superior straight line speed there, so he might be just hanging on at the moment, getting into the dry part of the race, and I'm going to put these guys under some serious pressure.
Quite possibly.
As we flick back, just noticed in the background, DP, the rest of the field are starting to come, and I believe Caribbean Crush is in that pack chasing, so this could get a bit tight very, very quickly.
It definitely could, yeah. Caribbean Crush up to 7th place now. But yeah, I was going to mention about comments on YouTube about the jump start there, and one of the comments is, excuse me, oh, you should just pause your car for the first lap if you lost connection. Then you can't. If you're on pause at the start, you bring out a yellow flag. You do everybody else for illegal overtakes. Which is why in front row racing, as Danny Relton is getting a little bit under pressure from Twist Royalty, in front row racing for the World Championship and the World Series, the rule is if you get disconnected in qualifying, you have to be aware that it is going to happen, and you cannot move until the cars around you move. So even though your lights go out, you don't go until the cars around you go, and everybody is aware then that is around you as Twist Royalty makes the move up the inside through turn 3. Beautiful switchback manoeuvre there from Twist Royalty. But yeah, it's done that way so that everybody knows then that that's the situation as Caribbean Crush is having a look up the inside into turn 4 on Gonk, and it's a nice little move from Caribbean Crush there.
It was indeed. Just to give a bit of info on there for DP, as a driver that is live in the league as we speak, it can be very frustrating. I mean, as we know, we race fortnightly, so DP's explained the rules, strict on it, that's the way you do it. If I was to be hit by the rear for someone not paying attention to a rule that's been put in place, that is absolutely devastating. I mean, you put in 2 weeks worth of practice on and off just to be hit up the rear at the start of the race. It's pointless. Keep it fair for everyone, read the rules, abide by them, and even try and bring them into your reserve racing like I did, because then you're prepared for it all the time. And I think we've had a car go wide in the final corner there, DP. I've seen a sign obliterated. Yeah,
it was Twist Royalty. Got a little bit out of shape there and took out the brake marker board. But he's showing a little bit of pace now as he's catching up to Tyler up at the front there. I just want to see if Caribbean Crush is catching up to the back. Oh yeah, he is.
Lion, this guy looks like he's got immense speed. It seems like he's got a really good balanced car throughout, so maybe taking all conditions into account, a little bit iffy on the traction. I'd say this guy's got a drive setup on. Ooh, the Mercedes nearly in the wall there. This is surely going to allow Caribbean Rush a free pass down into the braking zone. Yep, he's on the inside, looking good, nice and fair, plenty of space, and he's through. So next victim, Sauber, the new boy. Now you're going to get some pressure, young man. Trying to deliver and keep Caribbean Crush behind you.
Yep. Willow Wolves has also got to be aware of Gonk, because Gonk has sort of followed Caribbean Crush into this little battle. Oh, we've got a car off! Toro Rosso! I think that may be box, and hopefully he's going to be letting all of the cars through right now. It looks like he has done. But I mean, it's no easy race for the drivers at the moment. I will try and have another look at the YouTube comments as quickly as I can, but I mean, you're right with what you say. I mean, with the rules, I mean, even with the ETLs, if for anyone that doesn't know what they are, check out the Front Row Racing rules, and you can check out the rule book, as Gonk is actually having a real good look at Willow Wolves here, right up his gearbox. We've got a front wing just before the pit entry, and I think there's a car in the pits. I think that may be a Red Bull, as Gonk is now going to try and go in all the way around the outside of turn 1. He's going to be hung out to dry, and Willow Wolves holds on to the position quite nicely.
Update for you, DP. That car would be Lord JB. He's just been in the pits, front no change. He's back on another set of inners because it's obviously not dry enough yet. But am I right in saying the rain has nearly stopped?
You
I
might.
believe the rain stopped.
You might be right in saying that. Let's have a look on board with Tyler. Yeah, it's not raining anymore out there, so I don't think it'll be long until drivers try going on to dry tyres. But as we saw in qualifying, if you get it wrong, it's going to cost you massively. You've got to get the call absolutely spot on.
You have indeed, and from what I can see from Tyler up front, unsure setup. Keep bringing that up. I know that these conditions, as DP said, very tricky. You may have some cars going for the wet, trying to push. Obviously, with the rain stopping this early, it's not going to pay off. So, I mean, we've got Twist coming around the final corner, lining up. He's kind of in that turbulent air phase now, as he got his engine turned up and going to try and push. This is a guy we know a bit about. He's gone under the radar lately, pulling off some superb results. He doesn't look like he's got the straight line speed at the moment. No, nose to tail, possible move coming up into turn 4 depending on the exit as we come off the Senna S now as we speak. He's close. Mercedes looking a bit tail happy at the moment. Oh, so's Twist. So here we go. I reckon not close enough at present though. I'm looking in the background now, DP, and Caribbean Crush is making inroads to these guys. He is finally getting somewhere now, 4.5 seconds off the lead.
He definitely is, and he'll be driving angry as well. He's not had a lot of luck in qualifying recently. Oh, we've got a Renault! We've got a Renault off. That's Danny Railton off into the wall on the left-hand side of the track. I don't know if he's suffered any major damage there. Yeah, he's got front wing.
Yep, left side all gone. He'd be lucky to be getting that car into right-handers. Well, both really, because Brazil's all about getting the turn in. So long trip back for him. DP. Ex-racer, what would you do, my good man, in that situation? Hang on for another couple of laps and chance some slicks, or would you be in there now and just getting the repair job done?
It depends. If the damage is too much, you've got no choice and you've got to pit, and you'd put the slicks on and hope for the best. Caribbean Crush is in position to attack Maznat now. Yeah, but if the damage isn't too bad, yeah, carry on until it is time to go for the slick tyre. Other than that, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, there's nothing worse than having to pit a couple of laps before switching to dry tyres, because you know if they've... It's one of those, if you put inters on again, you've got to pit again. Oh, a little bit of contact. Caribbean Crush off towards the barrier. Manages to avoid the barrier, but now he's going to have to be aware of Willow Wolves, who's coming at him at full speed as Caribbean Crush defends the inside. I didn't have a brilliant angle of that little bit of contact there, but I think Maznat may have just got a little bit out of shape and gave Caribbean Crush a little bit of a tag there. Up at the front, though.
You say tag, I say welcome. But no, but sorry, DP. Yeah, up at the front. What's going on up there?
Well, Tyler and Twist Royalty ever so close, and Twist Royalty looks like he's just trying to size up where Tyler is better than he is, although there's a little bit of a lag out there. Brazil historically has been awful for lag, if I'm honest, thinking back over the seasons in front row racing. But let's see, Twist Royalty's got a fantastic opportunity here. I'm wondering if it's really at that point. Oh, Twist Royalty ever so close to making contact to the back. And I was going to say, is it at that point of going for slick tyres? I think Tyler may have just taken way too much slightly off track area down through the final corners there.
Maybe just a little bit. I'll jump back because I've seen Caribbean Crush lining up our new man Mads in third. He's finally on the gearbox with him. But yeah, there's zebra crossings there for a reason. You really don't want to be going across that part of the track. Lack of grip. Possible penalty being picked up there. You never know.
That is true. Okay, a little look a little bit further back. Juan, he's got Nuts Bumfluff right behind him, and also Shumi Garcia and Danny Rowton is a little bit further back. So up to 6th for the other debutant today. And Shumi Garcia, we know...
Danny Rowton, big crash! Oh no, sorry, that was lag. Sorry to cut in there, DP, but he is on medium compound tyres and he just had a massive moment down the pit straight there. Sorry to interrupt.
That's alright. Juan has just been passed by Shumi Garcia. Got a little bit out of shape, did he? Yes, he did. Caribbean Crush trying to pressure Maznat again. And Caribbean Crush, obviously, he's got so much pace around here at the moment, seeing as he's been able to catch up to Maznat after that little bit of contact between the two of them. I'm just going to have a quick look at Twist Royalty as well. Oh, my days. Look how close he is to the back of Tyler here. No DRS available for him yet, so the clerk of the course is saying it's not ready for...
Oh, side by side. Lovely bit of wheel bump in there. That is good to see. So interesting. Now I want to see how old Tyler returns a favour here. Go on, son. Stick it back up the inside of Twist. Give him something to think about as we go down to turn 4. He's got some straight line speed. Nothing nose in. No, bit too far back. Back in the background now. We've got Caribbean Crush, I believe, lining up a move. No, holds back. Thinks better of it in the condition. Don't know about you, DP.
Oh, no, Maznat out of shape. Maznat out of shape. And I think Caribbean Crush had to take evasive there. Yeah, it's cost him a little bit of time now.
Yeah, I've just picked up watching Caribbean Crush there. There is not a lot of spray at the moment, DP, and I'm wondering how Danny Railton is getting on his slicks now. So... Nope, still very cautious. He's taking his time, so I don't think it's quite there yet. I think we've got a couple more laps, but we're at a crucial point of the race where I believe the hards, at a push, may be able to get you to the end if you take a chance.
Quite possibly. I think it's time. You know, we'll get yellow flags down at turn 4. Not sure exactly what that is for or who that is for. Can't see them on screen at the moment. Let's see. Twist Road. Tyler's going for the pits. I was going to say, I think it's ready. I think it's time.
I'm unsure. That car with the yellow flag, I believe, was Lord JB again. I don't think he's having the best of races. I believe he's got a left rear puncher. He must have hit the wall hard. Surely the tyres won't have gone yet. There's no way. Yeah, left rear puncher.
Okay, interesting pit stops though. Maznat's gone for the soft... hard tyre. Caribbean Crush the medium tyre. Tyler has gone for the medium tyre, I believe. Let's see, Willow Wolves, he's already on the hard tyre. He's already done a pit stop earlier on, as has Nuts Bumfluff, I believe. Yeah, quite a few drivers got in the pits sneakily under the radar. So it's all going to come alive now then.
It might just a little bit. Even the cars have come alive, DP. They are just missing barriers. I just jumped on board with Willow and he nearly went into the pit exit. It's a bit tentative from drivers at the moment, but I want to see, excuse me guys, what Twist does now, because he's the guy still on the inters. Oh, in front.
Yeah, he's got to pit. He's got no choice. He's got to pit. I'm going to keep an eye on the gap, how much time Tyler's gaining. He's 19 seconds behind at the moment, but he's coming up to the sector line any time now, and he's gained 2 seconds on him. Twist is going to come out of the pits behind him.
He's in. I'm just going to wait to see what tyres he goes on to, DP. Here's a set of hards. Does he stick with the hards? Yep, he's gone hard. What was Tyler on? Was it the mediums, did you say?
Tyler, I believe, is on the mediums, but Caribbean Crush is on mediums. He's all over the back of Maznat, who's on the hard compound tyre. DRS is available for him as well, so Caribbean Crush is going to make the move. Or is he? No, he hasn't got the speed. Yes, he's having a look up the inside. Chucks it up the inside. Shumi Garcia's race is over. Maznat loses the position.
Twist on the exit of the pits. Tyler is through. He is through, and I believe it's not by a little bit. He's got the lead by 2 seconds. I reckon he's called that spot on now. And we have the man of the moment at the moment. Caribbean Crush, set of mediums, surely 5.8. Behind these two's got to push. This is his best chance to redeem the races he's had over the past month now.
Definitely. Okay, so I'm going to try and have a quick look through the order then for a moment while drivers have just made all their pit stops. So Tyler leading the way on the medium compound tyre, but he's going to have to stop again, I believe. In second place we've got Twist Royalty, who's on the hards, and my co-commentator reckons the hards will get to the end. Caribbean Crush.
Whoa.
You said it. You said
Don't
it.
Don't take my advice.
Blame him if you're on the hards and you get punctures. So Caribbean Crush is in third place on the medium tyres.
Red ball in the wall. Your JB, sorry DP, he's having a mare today. He's gone to the pits. Possible retirement. I might have just picked up another puncher.
Okay, Maznat sitting in fourth place then. Willow Wolves in fifth, and he's got Nuts Bumfluff right behind him still. And this is hard tyre versus medium compound tyre. And Nuts Bumfluff going to try having a look around the outside at turn one. May go for the switchback. Yes, he is setting himself up for a better run out of turn two and into turn three. He's going to have DRS again, so he's going to have another opportunity for Willow Wolves because defensive straight away is going to make it harder to get around the outside for Nuts Bumfluff. Let's see, Juan is in seventh place at the moment. Danny Roughton down in eighth at the moment. Drew is in ninth. He's still going on intermediate tyres. I think you need to get into the pits, my friend. Lord JB, it says he's in 12th place, as I am in 11th. Okay. And Box is in 13th, but I think he might be out of the race.
As you fed us that information, DP, I'm looking at Twist, who's making progress on his hards now. We may see a change of lead now. He's 0.7 of a second behind Tyler as we speak. DRS into play. We've got a yellow flag though coming up. No, green, we're good to go. Car's been moved, just gone in the pit lane. DRS, Twist needs it now. Not close enough down into turn one. Maybe sizing up for a move down into turn four though. Nice on the brakes. Interesting though, the two different tyre compounds. It could be interesting. Twist may have a splash and dust at the end with the soft compound. We don't know. So, but his DRS, 2 car lengths behind, not very effective at the moment. Maybe the driver's still not quite ready to push flat out with the conditions of the track still drying up as we speak.
Thing is, if you're Twist Royalty, you're on the harder compound tyre and you're all over the back of Tyler, who's on the mediums, you're going to be loving this race at the moment.
I'd be kicking back. I'd have the car in lean going, just tow me along, mate. I'm in no rush. I've got the tyre compound over you. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If the tyres could make it to the end, you stick it in lean, you follow him around, you wait for him to pit, and then you turn your engine up.
Oh yeah, that would be the perfect plan, DP, as they say. But I'm actually following these two at the moment. Different compounds, interesting. The mediums don't look like they're hooking up to Brazil at the moment. I mean, look at Tyler, he's tail happy. Twist is having to take avoidant action here as we come up to the pit straight. He's literally, there's an overlap side by side just coming in. DRS now open. Possible move around the outside into the centre S. He's pulled ahead. He's going for it. Nice move, bit of space guys, bit of slip on the curb. Looks good. Tyler, you're going to come back on. No, dropped off a little bit. I don't think these medium tyres are hooking up to Brazil as we speak. I don't think it's hot enough.
I think you could be right, because not only is Tyler struggling with the rear end, Caribbean Crush, although yes he got past Maznat is coming back at him. Maznat's right behind him. So it could be that the medium compound tyre is just not favourable here.
No, I mean, I haven't done much practice around here myself. I'm unsure of what tyres are best in the conditions, but from what I can see, those rear tyres are just not happy. They put their foot down and the car goes, I'm not playing, go a bit slower. So maybe a bad choice here. If I was Caribbean Crush myself, I would consider on lap 18 to 20, maybe going, I need to stop again. Let's put the favourable tyre on and push like hell. So maybe get the jump.
Yeah, I mean that could be something that, excuse me, I don't know if many people think about. Is that, for example, if you're going to do, say, a 10-lap stint, and each of the tyres can do a 10-lap stint, the hardest compound tyre, you can abuse them. You don't have to think about tyre pressures, tyre temperatures, locking them up. You just absolutely nail them. Now, they still might not be as quick as the softest compound tyre, but they'll take the punishment more.
They will indeed, and if there's one thing I've learned over this season from these compounds of tyres, they take the tracks of the soft, the medium and the hards. When you get that orange stripes hard, I don't know what it is, the further you take them, the faster they want to go. So, as DP said, whack a set on, punish the car, punish the tyres, because what's the worst that can happen? You've got the compound under you to keep push.
The worst that could happen is similar. What was it? What happened in Mexico? Anyway,
go there.
I want to just mention though that Caribbean Crush is now catching up to Tyler quite rapidly. But also Nuts Bumfluff and Willow Wolves, they're still having one hell of a fight out there, and they're only 10 seconds off the lead at the moment, with Nuts Bumfluff really trying to apply some pressure to Willow Wolves.
That's interesting. Let's have a quick move back there. Oh, he is. He's closer than I've seen before. Actually, he may actually be lining up the move here, DP. Perfect slipstream going on as we come up to the pit straight as we're on it now. DRS going around the outside, or lining it up, should I say. Is he feeling brave? Got immense straight line speed. Is the move already done? No, he's got the line inside now. Nicely done, not too much curb. Great racing from the guys. But Willow Wolves' turn now. What have you got with DRS? Here we go, turn 4 coming up. Two cars looking to push each other hard with some key competitors out. No hold station, and I could be wrong, maybe the mediums needed a couple of laps more than the hards to come into play with the temperatures being key today.
Quite possibly. I'm just looking from the rear of Tyler's car towards Caribbean Crush, who is still closing that gap. I mean, Tyler's still within DRS range of of Twist Royalty, just ahead of him, but it could be a case of Twist Royalty's just taking his time out there at the moment. But Caribbean Crush is really in on this fight now in second place. For second place.
Oh, he is indeed. I mean, it's as if the guy, maybe a few people didn't see it last week, the guy was absolutely driving the skin off that car. I haven't seen someone push so hard and make up so much ground last week out in Mexico. Well worth just watching Caribbean Crushing his progress on the first few laps. It did come to an end, unfortunately, but the guy's flying, and he seems to have brought his form here today, even though he started down in 8th place. DRS now, he's within the zone. Surely it can't be too long before he's past these guys, but given the circumstances, these two in front, Twist and Taylor, I would not be giving this to Caribbean Crush on a plate. I would make the guy work for it today, because key runners out. One of the key runners are still running. That would be Caribbean Crush. Make it hard for him. Make him work for it. Make him earn his podium today here, guys. But other than that, it's actually turning out to be quite a cracking race here, DP, with cars out of positions and unfortunate incidents at the start.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I mentioned before that, I mean, it was devastating for Curly Whirly, but at the same time, it's kind of spiced things up a little bit, because he's not out at the front running away. I mean, can't take anything away from Curly Whirly. We know he's a good driver. He's shown that already. Caribbean Crush, though, is being given the opportunity to show what he's got, and he's really trying to do that here now on Tyler, side by side up towards turn 1. And they're going to stay side by side. I think Tyler may have got a little bit closer than he wanted to there.
Fair play, boy. That's what I like to see. You don't see that very often in the middle of the Centre S, sticking it back to him and making him work for it. Beautiful there. Sorry to interrupt you, DP.
That's all right. Tyler had DRS down towards turn 4. So Caribbean Crush couldn't get the move done. They're still trying, though, and he has now managed to sneak through after Decido Del Lago. So into turn 5, manages to get the move done, and now he's hunting down Twist Royalty, who... I mean, if Twist doesn't have to pit again, he's looking fairly comfortable, but these guys on the mediums, there's no way they're getting to the end. No way at all.
No, I'd be absolutely gobsmacked. Rumour has it from a few drivers I've spoke to, the mediums at a push in qualifying in dry conditions. Clear sky, beautiful day. you're probably only looking at a push of a window, of in between lap 12, depending on how many laps you do on them in quali, up to about lap 16 your limit, then you're in puncher territory. So if I was one of these guys, I'd love to be in twist position right now. You call it how you want it, Sunshine. See what you want to do. Maybe put Caribbean in his place today, but I reckon we're in for a fascinating race, and I've probably said it before, it's going to come down to that closing stage of what driver does what with their next set of compounded tyres.
Definitely. Quickly mention as well, for anyone who's watching is interested in getting involved in Front Row Racing, then come and check out the Front Row Racing Facebook page. It's the one with the Silverstone wing, and drop us a message, and one of the admins will get back in touch with you as quickly as they can. But bearing in mind, we're currently doing a live show, so we may not respond straight away. But yeah, there's going to be one more round left in the World Series Reserves and the World Series Reserves. Dave, would you like to try and explain what the World Series Reserves is all about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this event, we've got two leagues that run fortnightly between these events, which are the actual league events. That'll be the World Series and World Championships. But this event is what the description DP is looking for. This event, you come along, come and talk to Front Row Racing on Facebook if you're interested in racing, because this is where you will be putting your skills to the test up against these drivers here today. You come along, stick your elbows out, have a bit of a race, see what you got, and if you fancy it, sign up and follow it through. But this is about getting used to going wheel to wheel with the drivers that are currently here and learning the rules of Front Row Racing, showing what you've got, the talents, etc., to try and build your way into this side of it would be the World Series, to try and get a permanent seat. But the only way to do it is to come and show what you got here, because when these guys race, if a guy can't make the World Series event the following week, like next week would be this Thursday, the World Series, tune in to see how those guys do. If a driver can't make it from a team, they can then turn to these guys, see who's performed well here, see who's maybe got the current form, race after race, and they will look to pick one of you guys to fill their seat for that event. So it's well worth coming along, giving it a go, seeing what you got, enjoy the event, but then the following week you may get to pursue a seat and go up against what I like to call the big boys that, well, they're fighting for a championship, and these guys know how to race in Front Row Racing. So yeah, come and look Front Row Racing up on the page, and Facebook page, and see what's what. I believe we've got Caribbean Crush into the pits, or Tyler. Just flew into the pits, he did, yeah. So, but that's the idea. Come along, give it a go, and worst case scenario, you don't like it, you walk away. You do, come and get stuck in, because these are where the real races race, where the rules are there, they're fair, they're set for everyone. Come and enjoy it.
Yeah, and not only that, come and join us next Thursday, as you mentioned, for the World Series event, where our reigning champion Hindle will be going at it head-to-head with his teammate. They're both tangled in a fight for the Drivers' Championship. Now, I don't condone swearing, although I do it a lot while I'm not live. I don't condone swearing. Check out Hindle's comment on YouTube. It really cracked me up. It's about the start of the race, so fair play to you about that one, Hindle. I won't repeat it right now, but Caribbean Crush is all over the back of Twist Royalty, and Caribbean Crush is absolutely on a charge, but as we know, Caribbean Crush is going to have to make another stop. Tyler, I think he went onto the hard compound tyre, and I'm not surprised by that at all.
No, that would be a wise call, given, wow, he had a car behind him on hards, was seeing what he was doing, seeing what Twist's doing out in front.
Caribbean Crush, sorry, Caribbean Crush. Yeah, he is. Caribbean Crush going up the inside.
Nicely done there. That's quite surprising, given what tyre compounds are on. Or is this Caribbean Crush going, whack that engine up, I've got to give it everything now, because I'm coming into 12 laps left, and I've got Twist on the hard compound here. And the new boy, Mads Nat in the background, great showing. He's in third on the hard compound. This guy could possibly be fighting for a win here at the end of the race.
He definitely could be. I mean, it would be interesting. I mean, if Twist Royalty and Mads Nat can get to the end on the hard compound tyre, that's one hell of a show we're going to have towards the last 10 laps of the race. For Caribbean Crush, it's crucial. I mean, I'm not surprised that Tyler's gone to the hard tyre and not the soft compound. I mean, basically, he's on the medium compound tyre, and he's been caught and passed by one driver on hards and caught by another guy on hards. So I'm not surprised he's gone that direction. I'll probably have a look in a minute and find out that actually he's on the soft tyre.
No, I've just had a look for your DP. He's on the hard tyre. Interestingly, though, I believe Nuts was in 5th a few laps ago ahead of Willow Walls. He's, I believe, made a pit stop. I'll check that shortly.
He did, yeah.
He's on the mediums. And I don't know about you, DP, but I'm starting to see the sun come out. So is this another kick in the story where the mediums may overpower the hards towards the end?
Well, they might do. They could do. I mean, Tyler, sorry, not Tyler, Nuts Bumfluff made his pit stop at the same time as Tyler did. And yeah, if the sun comes out and the track temperature improves, then it could benefit the medium compound tyre more, and it could work for Nuts Bumfluff. Nuts Bumfluff was in a battle with Willow Wolves. What's the gap between them at the moment? 14 seconds. So if Willow Wolves has to stop again, then Nuts Bumfluff's in a great situation. But if Willow doesn't, then Nuts has got 14 seconds to try and make up.
Yep, just to inform you, DP, Twist has now retaken Caribbean in the middle sector. No DRS. I think Caribbean may want to come and change his boots now if Twist is getting the better of him in that middle sector. But coming around the final corner now, we're going to find out very, very shortly what Caribbean Crush does, because I don't think he wants to throw away a good win here, given what's happened at the start of the event. So here we go. Caribbean Crush.
Pits.
Yeah, he's gone for the pits. Gone for the pits, DP. I shall see what the gentleman's going on to. Long run down to the Renault garage, guys. Sorry about the delay on the information.
We'll keep going. Actually, he's right in the middle. It's another set of mediums.
Wow, so that's an interesting call by Caribbean there. He must be feeling comfortable on the tyres that he's running, or maybe the car's set up space around the medium compound. I may ask that man that question. If he makes the podium.
Question I want an answer to, though, is where is Tyler? Where is Tyler? I think Tyler's lost.
Turn three.
Yeah, he's lost quite a bit of time there as Tyler, and I mean Tyler's got Nuts Bumfluff right behind him as well. So you know what, Nuts has got himself right into the. I mean, let's put it, if Tyler's in potentially in a fight for the win, then so is Nuts Bumfluff now.
He is indeed. Quicker compound. I'm just going back to the front three. They are all on the hard compound. I believe we've got our front three. 10 laps to go, going to the end. If not, it'll be a splash and dash at the end. It's all about what Caribbean Crush, Tyler on the hard, and Nuts Bumfluff can do pressurise to these front three, with Nuts Bumfluff being 6th in the train of cars, 23.1 seconds behind the lead. It's
Willow
doable
Wolves.
if you've got the pace in the car.
Willow Wolves into the pits on the hard compound tyre, so he doesn't feel that he can get them to the end. He's going to come out somewhere behind Nuts Bumfluff, about 4 or 5 seconds behind him, I believe. So let's see, Caribbean Crush 18 seconds off the lead. He's going to need to, well, if Twist Royalty needs to pit, Caribbean Crush is in a fantastic position. Oh, looking in the background though, Tyler is coming under pressure.
He is indeed from Nuts Bumfluff. The gentleman who showed up last time out in Mexico was putting on a good show. I believe he finished in about 8th, but here today he's obviously settled in and going for it and trying to show these guys, hey, I can just mix it up with you guys as much as you can with the front runners here, so maybe a guy to keep an eye out. But Willow Wolves, DP, a little bit of an update for that. He's fallen miles back, 29 seconds off the lead now, and your guesstimations, I believe, about right. No, he's 8 seconds off the battle for 4th. So bad decision there, if I'm honest. I might have stuck it out and gone for a set of softs and absolutely blew and gone on a charge. So
okay, Twist Royalties continued on. Maznat has pitted. Maznat, I think he's going to come out behind Caribbean Crush, who's just on the fastest lap of the race. But I think Tyler and Nuts Bumfluff side by side down towards turn 1. Nuts Bumfluff gets past before turn 1, but where is the new guy, Maznat?
Exit. Literally, DP, he's going to be about, I'd say, a second half in front of Nuts, and Nuts is up to full speed. And he's gone for a set of hard compound tyres.
Well, Maz obviously feeling very, very comfortable on that particular compound of tyre. The thing is, for Twist Royalty now, he knows everybody else has pitted. He has the choice of pitting for soft tyres if he wants, as Box, I think, gets out of the way. So is Twist Royalty going to make a pit stop, or is he going to try and hang this out for 8 more laps? He's into the pits.
Wow. Well, I've just jumped on board with Caribbean Crush. He's 16.7. Might be worth staying on board with one of these two, DP. It's going to get very tight for that pit lane exit as we speak.
It definitely is. Well, I think Caribbean Crush will take the lead of the race, but Twist Royalty, he's shown that he's got a bit of pace, and I reckon he's going to be on the soft compound tyre. He's already on the move. Caribbean Crush, though, heading towards turn 1 now into the Senna S's. Where is Twist Royalty? Caribbean Crush is ahead of him, yet Twist Royalty just coming through the pit exit now. He's going to be quite a long way behind. He may get jumped by Maznat.
Here he comes. Oh, they must be side by side. He's just done it on the pit exit. So Twist, if he wanted to go for the win, he's now got his work cut out with the new boy in front of him.
And now he's going to have to hope that you're right, saying that the sun's come out, the medium tyres are going to be better, because medium tyres versus hard tyres been the winner so far today.
It has indeed. So, but the more I'm watching this race, the brighter it's getting. So, if I am right, well done, Dave. If not, sorry guys, don't listen to me ever again.
I can't say. I've not driven on this game since a few laps around Baku, so I can't say anything about tyre wear. I take my knowledge about tyre wear on F1 2016 from the drivers.
Don't listen to us, DP, especially me. Jesus. No, but as we come round, we got Twist obviously behind Maznat, and Nuts still pushing, and this could turn into a three-way battle very quickly if Twist don't pull his finger out and do what we know he's capable of. But I'll tell you what, I'm impressed by Maznat. He's really giving it a good go and showing, I believe this is his first race, DP?
Yep, it is.
Great showing, and yeah, he's making life difficult for Twist here. Straight line speed, he seems to have bundles of it. So I believe Caribbean Crush, as we stand, is take your time, don't put it in a wall, no mistakes, and this race is yours, because guys behind are going to end up in a fierce battle, I feel.
Dave, could you just do me a quick favour? Jump on board with Willow Wolves, and if you could, let us know how far off the leader he is.
I can indeed, DP. He's on medium compound tyres, exactly 12 seconds off the lead.
Twist Royalty chucks it up the inside, chucked it up the inside, and Maznat, now contact between the two of them. Off they go, spinning into the grass. Oh, I think that was a little bit too much risk, and nowhere near enough reward there.
Wow, that's unbelievable, because these guys' strategy's just gone out. I missed the incident, so I don't know if DP caught it.
I caught it. I wasn't really looking at it because I was going to talk about something completely different.
But just to let you know, as an outcome from that, we knew he was in the background of that battle. Nuts has found himself in second, with Tyler in third now. So, wow, all going off here in Brazil in the last stage of this race.
Yeah, well, the reason I mentioned about Willow Wolves was because we basically had first to sixth within 12 seconds of each other with different tyre compounds in use. Unfortunately, the collision between Twist Royalty and Maznat has affected both of their races, and now they're in 5th and 6th instead of 2nd and 3rd, and I think Maznat's going to be on a charge to try and catch them back up as well. Juan has got himself up into 7th place, with Danny Railton sitting in 8th and Drew in 9th, with Lord JB. He's had a difficult race today, but he's up there in 10th place. I'm sure I'll hear from him afterwards about sort of exactly what has gone on with his race today. But I wouldn't be surprised, you know, Dave, if there's going to be a few WC drivers and WS drivers that are sort of watching this race as Tyler's coming under pressure from Willow Wolves. Watching this race and thinking, hang on a minute, right, are these guys just got their setups completely wrong? Or are the medium tyres that much of a bad tyre in those cooler conditions?
Yeah, if they are watching, the WS and WC drivers probably making notes, because I've got my notepad out beside me, and yeah, these really don't look like the tyres you want. We don't know what the soft can do either, so if the mediums are struggling, no one's really ran the softs that we've got any information from here. I know a couple of drivers tried it, but they obviously didn't work, because all drivers now, I believe, are on the medium or hard tyres. So yeah, my note to self is, Dave, remember the hard compound and watch your tyre wear. So
yeah. Well, you might want to have a look at Juan, because I did see he was on the soft tyres earlier, but it'd be interesting to see if he's faster on the mediums than he was on the soft tyre.
just a bit of update for you with Juan. He's hitted and now gone for a set of softs on lap 32 with the remainders to go. So I will see on information for his lap times for EDP.
Okay, good stuff. Tyler still under pressure from Willow Wolves. Willow Wolves in a fantastic position now to really try and attack. Turn the engines up as Drew is out of the race, unfortunately. Turn the engine up, open that DRS wing, up the inside he goes into turn one. Side by side they're going to go. And that is Willow Wolves up into fourth place?
Third place.
Third place. Yeah, it didn't update properly there for me for a moment.
A little bit of information on you about those lap times you asked for, DP. You ain't going to believe this. Juan was in the 14s in his best lap time on the softs. He was in the 13s on the mediums. So what's going on? It's normally the softer the compound, the faster you go, but it seems to be the harder the compound, the quicker you're going here today.
It could be a case, I mean, this track, it punishes tyres, it always has done. We did see as well on the screen a moment ago, Drew's Williams without the front wing, so I think it was a collision with a barrier that has brought his race to an end. Yeah, I mean, this track punishes tyres, there's no doubt about it. But it's not just degradation, it's tyre temperature that is affected massively. So it could be that the softer the compound, the tyre temperatures are just getting way too high, giving a massive lack of grip, whereas the harder compound tyres can take that extra bit of punishment without getting to as high a temperature.
They can indeed.
Whoa!
Where you going? Oh, I don't know how he managed to keep that out of the barrier, but fair play. 360. Thank God he's ghosted, but it's something I don't like of the game as a feature. But he's going again, and well, that would have done his tyres no justice. It wouldn't surprise me if those rears, you could cook an egg on them now.
Yeah, definitely. What that has done is allowed Twist Royalty up to 4th place and Mazna up to 5th place now. But that's freed up Willow Wolves to hold on to that 3rd place at the moment, with Nuts Bumfluff now into 2nd. And I mean, that's a little bit of a surprise, if I'm honest. I mean, no disrespect to him, but the first sort of 10-15 laps of the race, we weren't even talking about him as potentially being on the podium. But now, yeah, he's clearly there in 2nd place.
Yep, doing a fantastic job. It's one of those things, you just quietly go about your race, keep yourself out of trouble, and a gentleman like Nuts Bumfluff found himself in 2nd by following the simple things to engage in racing. Keep it out the wall and keep it away from opponents when going for overtakes. So, fantastic job there. Slightly falling back off Caribbean Crush now, so he might just be happy with 2nd. But Willow Wolves is a guy on the move at the moment and slowly catching Nuts Bumfluff as we speak, DP, with Twist after his incident starting to put his foot down as well. But we've only got one to go and the one they're on as we speak. So, been an interesting race. Another front wing I can see there on the exit of turn 5. So somebody's having a bad day, keeping their mechanics busy.
I think that one may be Drew's, but I think Tyler's going to be a little bit frustrated with sort of how this race has gone, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, Caribbean Crush is getting ready to start the final lap of the race, and I'll quickly mention question of the day again. So if you want to have a crack at the answer to this one, feel free to get your comments into, or your guesses into the YouTube comments. So question of the day is: what is the elevation change at Brazil? Or should I say that a little bit better? How big is the elevation change here in Brazil? Caribbean Crush heading towards turn 4, and a big plume of smoke there as somebody ahead of him, one of the back markers, has had a major lockup down there into turn 4, and I think that may be Box in his Toro Rosso. But yeah, get your answers in on the YouTube chat for having a go at question of the day. Now, Dave, I believe you've not actually answered this, but I do know before we came on air you said about 10 metres, I believe it was.
Yeah, I said around 10 metres because you asked me how many words come out of my mouth and I thought I'd matched the two up, so... But no, I'd say it's more than that, but I'm unsure because Brazil's very, very sort of tricky to get right because the elevation change around this track's huge. You just don't realise how big they are.
Yeah. Okay, Caribbean Crush heading towards the finish line now. He is going to take the victory here in the World Series Reserves. Fantastic drive by him. Nuts Bumfloff out of nowhere. That's kind of what that particular stuff tends to do. Appears out of nowhere. Takes second place. He'll be delighted with that. We'll see if Willow Wolves is going to hold on to that third place. I believe he may not have done. I think Twist Royalty may just have jumped him via in-game penalties, but Tyler, he's heading up to the finish line now in 6th place. An interesting race for him. Juan, a minute off the lead unfortunately, but I think he may have done additional pit stops, sitting in 8th place at the moment.
Yeah, fantastic race. It's an unfortunate event. I mean, what happened at the start, we all know, we all saw, we've talked about it. I mean, if any of the reserve drivers that have participated in today's event or futures events coming up, well worth skimming the rules that are attached to Front Row Racing. It is a video, you don't have to sit there and read an essay after essay, it flicks through nicely. Refresh yourself with the rules and just have an understanding, and as I said before, I'll say it again, try and implement them into your reserve races as you go. So here's the results though, DP. Caribbean Crush in first, great showing. I'm sure he's going to be happy with that after recent events. With Nuts Bumfluff, as DP said, the surprise result of the day, finding himself in second at his second race. Twist Royalty in third, good showing from the young man there, shame about the incident. Flying through the rest of the order, we had Willow Wolves in fourth, Mads in fifth, Tyler in 6th, Danny Railton in 7th, Juan in 8th, Lord JB 9th, then we go to Front Row Racing, DP.
I finished 10th, yeah!
Yeah, you got a point and you're not even racing. But yeah, the unfortunate thing there about the guys at the bottom was how they finished their race, so hopefully going forward, if people can just take a reminder and make a note to self, if you have a delayed start or if you leave or come back, just remember, take your time off the start, because it can be frustrating for the guy that you hit.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is the FRR rulebook is available on the YouTube channel, but also on the Front Row Racing Race Directors page on Facebook. There are updates to rules on there, and I think the information about starting the race after a disconnection in qualifying is written on there. I mean, it's a ridiculous situation. It's something that shouldn't happen, but at the same time, you have to make provisions for it, which is kind of what we've done. I mean, I know, for example, in the World Championship, in the World Series, we've put a rule in place that if you get disconnected during qualifying, it's not just disconnections. I mean, the game crashes sometimes, and there's nothing you can do other than turn it off and turn it back on. And it's unfair in some respects to say, well, because that happened to you in qualifying, you can't race. So a rule was put in place that if you do get disconnected for whatever the reason, you can rejoin, but you can't go back out on the track to improve your qualifying position. So basically, yes, you can rejoin, but you can't go back out in qualifying, and that's to stop someone from improving and getting themselves further up the grid and causing a major problem higher up the grid. But it's something that did have to be dealt with, and like you said, Dave, it's advisable for all of the drivers to be aware of it. I mean, I do know that people that have applied to join the league, they are sent a link to the FRR rule book and the race directors page, and they're informed of the updated rules and things like that. And people may just think, oh, I don't need to bother with that. Check them out. It's worth it. It makes life a hell of a lot better in the long run, let's put it that way. Okay, so we'll get on to the podium interviews in a moment. I believe we're just waiting for a couple of guys, Dave?
Nope, I've got them all in already, DP. Maybe they're keen to discuss their race today?
Quite possibly, quite possibly. Okay, so time for the podium interviews from the Front Row Racing World Series Reserves from the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Brazil. Over to Coming to Get You to ask the questions. Drop that one on him.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll go in as we do from first to third. So starting with the man himself, Caribbean Crush. How are we today, fella?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm going to start with something you may not know about, the start of the race itself. Are you aware with what happened there at the start, or did you not catch it from your point of view?
Aware of what?
The incidents of jump starts, etc. I'm just curious. Did you catch it
No,
from your point of view?
no, I didn't notice it. I just focused
No.
on getting off the line myself.
Okay, that's fine. It was from our point of view, it was a cracking race because, as you guys may have seen, old Curly Whirly got disqualified and a DNF for I'm Loki. Instance of cars jumping at the start of them. But taking that aside, Caribbean Crush, how did your race go today? Because in recent events, you've had a bit of bad luck with qualifying laps being hindered and a bit of bad luck in the race through lag. How was today? Did you pull out everything you needed to show?
Um, Probably not in qualifying. I was hoping that the rain would come end sooner. Um, the dry setup I was using wasn't very great in the wet anyway, so I crashed out. Um, in the race, started P9. As long as I got the clean racing, I could show what I could do. I knew Kylie Whirly got disqualified, so I knew I had a very good chance to win this race anyway, even though starting at ninth. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it was
that's it.
a great show from yourself. I mean, like you said, you come from ninth and flying through the early stage of the race. You were sort of hitting the cars as they come, flying past them, and then you hit drivers like Twist Royalty, etc. Did you have any doubts of lag playing in your mind from the last event in Mexico?
I had someone else stuck behind the new driver in the Sauber, so I was stuck behind him for about 5 laps. I just didn't
Yeah.
want to take any risks and get crashed out or anything like that. So, um,
On,
just sorry.
go on. No, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, the other drivers, their connection was okay. I had no issues with them, so that was it
So
really.
luck all fell your way. One last question I'd like to ask you with the new driver is Maznet. How did you find racing against him? It's his first event, and he found himself up there fighting for a win, which was quite a surprise for us guys because we've seen it from yourself, we've seen it from Curly. How did you find battling the man?
Um, it's very aggressive. That's fine, but there's many occasions that when we battled that he could have put me in the wall. Like on one of the straights, the start finish straight, I was driving and I was about to pull out of the slipstream, and he nearly put me into the wall. I don't know if he didn't know I was there or it was lag or whatever. So I had to back out of that, and I was stuck behind him for about 5 laps, and then I finally got past him. His awareness was good, so he was very good wheel to wheel, but I just wasn't sure whether was aware sometimes if I was there.
Okay, that's good to hear. It's nice to hear from a driver's point of view of a new guy coming in that he can race, maybe just needs to work on a few things going forward. But it was a great show from you guys at the front there. I've just got one last question. It's a question DP's probably waiting to ask, but it's the guys that went to the medium tyres. We noticed you were one of them. Were you struggling at all given the conditions? Because it seemed like the hard tyres just lit up and could just do anything, whereas the medium runners seemed a bit tail happy, trying to get the traction down.
Mm, I knew that the cold conditions would only stay for about a lap or two, and Royalty was stuck behind Tyler, so I knew I had time, so I went on the mediums anyway, and later on when the track warmed up, I was able to close quickly and get past them both. So.
Well, here's a question for you. As Dave's trying to get his little girl to quiet down a little bit as she was trying to do car noises, I think. Were you worried at any point, thinking that perhaps Twist Royalty might not have to pit, being on the hard compound tyre?
No, he pitted on lap 11, so I was pretty sure that he couldn't do 25 laps, otherwise that'd be really concerning. Yeah, I knew that he had to stop again, or if not, I would have probably caught him anyway. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I've got one more question for you, which I'll get to in a moment. But I do want to quote what Hindle said in the YouTube chat. But I'm going to change one of the words. I mean, it wasn't too rude, but I won't say it live anyway. Hindle's description of the start of the race was, in reference to Danny Railton, was everybody was lining up on the grid and he started the race and drove off. That's effectively what happened. Nudged the back of Curly Whirly. Curly Whirly got disqualified for it. yeah, not quite right. Unfortunate for him, but I'm sure Caribbean Crush doesn't care about that. Question for you, Caribbean Crush. Did you look at the weather report this time in qualifying?
Yes, I did.
So you were prepared for the rain at the start of the race then?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Right, well, don't go anywhere just yet, Caribbean Crush. We'll come back to you in a few moments, and we'll move on to our second place sitter, Nuts Bumfluff. Well done, congratulations, and coming to get you. I shall leave you to ask him some questions if you got some for him.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nuts Bumfluff, good to see you on the podium. We saw you last time out in Mexico. You had what I would call an average race, but it was your first event, so you done well.
I'd put the wrong setup on that weekend, or that week.
Oh, so it just went horribly wrong.
It all went wrong for me.
Yeah, but today,
on that one though, so I was quite enjoying it.
good to hear, good to hear. That's what front row racing's all about, my good man. So it's all about the wheel-to-wheel action and provide good entertainment. I mean, here in Brazil, you came out of nowhere. So, I mean, talk us through your race, because at one point we saw you down in 6th, 7th, 8th, having a good old fight coming up through the field. And then before you know it, we find you, as we skip back to you, on second place up here talking to us now.
I don't know what happened. I know at the start I saw the Renault go and I instinctively just let go of my clutch as well. I had the servo drive-through for that, which put me at the back of the grid. After that, just put the foot down, kept going, and when it came time for the drives, I was like, well, I'll go mediums, see what they can do. And to my surprise, they were just working fantastically for me tonight.
Ooh, well, that's interesting. Maybe we were seeing something a bit different, unsure. But no, great showing from yourself. I mean, the drive-through. Would you say that the drive-through cost you the win then, or would you say it was all?
No, I wouldn't say it cost me the win.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I know I don't have that kind of pace. And at the end of the race, I saw Caribbean Crushes in front of me, but my tyres were close to going bang. I was up at 70% on my tyres, so I said, like, yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to push.
So just sit back, see the race out, and you've done the hard bit.
Tried to defend myself for second place.
I mean, cracking job. It's good to see you on the podium. Always nice to see a new face. I mean, don't let the pace get to you and play on your mind. I mean, you're new to it. You will find your pace. But as me and DP have quoted of saying throughout the season, since I've been doing comms, did you know sometimes when you're going slower, you're going faster than you realise?
No, never really looked at it that way.
No. Little tip for you. Just bear that one in mind, because you never know. That may help you going forward. But I will hand you to the man, DP himself. I'm sure he's going to grill you, being a new man on the podium. So, DP.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Get the grill out. No, I mean, what Coming to Get You has just said there, I mean, it's something that I've quoted for years. Sometimes drive slower to go faster, and it's a driving style that really can work. I mean, you look at, you watch any race back, and you can see sometimes drivers that are pushing so hard to go faster that they just lose so much time. Whereas if you're consistently doing laps and hitting your points and doing more laps because you're looking after the tyres, in the long run it can be quicker. I've got to say, great race. I mean, I mentioned it during the broadcast that for the first half of the race, I mean, you weren't, no offence, but you weren't even in the picture.
Yeah, I know. I can hear you.
And but then obviously, if you know that you would have heard us say, well, hang on a minute, he's actually got, because when Tyler pitted and Tyler's in a fight for the win, all of a sudden you're in that battle. So, I mean, it was a great race. I mean, in hindsight, ignoring the jump start, is there anything you think that you would do differently to try and get more out of the race?
I think initially I would have gone for the hard tyres for my first stop if it wasn't for the drive-through. So I could have gone a bit longer and not been so concerned about my tyres going bang near the end of the race. So I could have been just pushed on a bit more.
Okay, good
maybe
stuff.
tried a bit more.
Now, it looked like you had a fantastic battle with Willow Wolves for quite a few laps in that race. Any highlights of that portion of the race?
I quite enjoyed it. There was a lot of defensive moves going and a lot of myself being unsure as to whether or not I should make the move. I did have a moment where I came out from behind his car, and I thought my car was just going to snap on me and go into the wall. But that was just my mistake, really. But all in all, it was a fantastic little battle with him there.
Okay. And my last question to you for the moment is, in qualifying, me and Commitigate were talking about the difficulty of the conditions. From a driver's perspective, being in that qualifying session, what was going through your mind for the duration of the qualifying session as to how you approach it?
Mainly, I was just praying for it to hurry up and get dry, because I don't feel that strong in the wet conditions. But to my surprise, my dry setup seemed to work quite well in the intermediates today. It's just a case of, and then when it got dry, I was just thinking, right, just floor it and hope for the best.
Well, in the end,
to come away with second in qualifying.
Yeah, well, in the end, it's all paid off. So don't go anywhere just yet. We'll come back to you in a few moments' time. And we'll head over to Twist Royalty, who, well, what a race, but I think potentially ended a little bit disappointing. But I'm not going to ask you questions to begin with. We'll see what Coming to Get You has got for you.
Yeah, I'm going to actually start this, Twist, but I've got a new name for you. I'm going to call you the Iceman because your comments are short, sweet, and simple. So you are now the Iceman. So to start with, I'm going to go straight for the big question. I'm not saving it for DP. What happened with the incident with the Sauber? Was it a bit ambitious, or did the Sauber not see it coming? I mean, talk us through it from your point of view.
Oh, it was mainly my fault, really. I squeezed him a bit too much into the grass.
So it wasn't one of your famous dive bombs you like to see. It was more, I'll try this, but it just didn't quite work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It was good stuff, I must admit. I mean, at times you were a guy that looked like you were on fire, determined to win no matter what. But, I mean, from your point of view, going on to the hards from the wet conditions within the race, was that a key plan, or did you wait to see what others did and then go on an opposite strategy? Or, I mean, talk us through that.
No, I was always going on to the slowest tyre then.
Was that for preference to it working in the colder conditions better than any other compound here today?
Yep.
Okay, there's a little tip for everyone, and I've just made a note of that. Thanks, Twist. It's, but no, I've got to admit, fantastic showing for you. And there's only one more question I want to ask you. Did qualifying go as you anticipated, or were you caught out with the track drying out at the end compared to what others did? Or
Well, I could have got into at least 5th, but I got held up on my last lap in qualifying.
That's a shame to hear. We've seen that a bit lately. I will hand the message out there if it's all right with DP at this present time with that being brought up. About qualifying, guys, we've seen it in Mexico now. If it's happened to Twist here today, I just want to re-elaborate on something. If you see a guy on a hot lap or a car bombing up behind you and you're on an in lap or an out lap, you've got to get out of the way as fast as you can, because although it's the reserves, these guys are trying to set competitive times and give themselves a good showing on pushing forward to try and get into the WS. So just a bit more caution in the future, guys. But other than that, you guys are putting on a fantastic show for us. And right now, I'm going to hand over to DP and let him try and get more than a couple of words out of you, Twist.
No.
No, thanks, DP. Leave me hanging.
Twist Royalty, I mean, a fantastic race for yourself there. Obviously, the collision with Mazda, it ruined any possibility of fighting for the win. But, I mean, the rest of your race, in more than 3 words, how would you describe the rest of your race?
It went better than I thought.
4 words, well done. It went better than I. Sorry, 6 words. That'll do. We'll take that. I mean, it was a really good drive, and I mean, you've come on a long way this season from start to finish. So keep it up. One more round to go, and then you can have a nice, good old rest. Okay, time to sort out question of the day, and I'm sure we'll only get a 1-word answer out of Twist Royalty for this one. And anyone that hasn't had a guess on on the YouTube chat, feel free to do so as well. Just before I do actually do it, I will mention to Caribbean Crush that Maznat has commented saying to Caribbean Crush, sorry about nearly putting you in the wall. Not sure when that was. Wasn't my intention. And has also said that he had problems in the pit stops. So let's see. Yes, okay, so question of the day. And I think it'll be Nuts Bumfluff's first attempt at a question of the day. So let's see how he's going to get on. So, we've just had a race around Brazil. It goes uphill, it goes downhill, it goes through the center S's. But the question of the day is this: how big is the elevation change here in Brazil? So, Caribbean Crush.
Could it be?
Get off Google. Get off Google.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, I can't find it on Google. 3.6. I'll say about 3.6 meters. I don't know. It's just a guess.
3.6 meters. Okay, everybody heard that. Okay, Nuts Bumfluff, would you like to have a better guess than Caribbean Crush?
It's about 13.
13 meters. It's a good guess. Twist Royalty, would you like to give us your answer?
10 meters.
10 meters. Interesting.
Well, if I'm wrong, he's wrong. So that's good.
Well, I can tell you that Caribbean Crush was the furthest away from the correct answer. You thought for a moment you got it right. No, you were furthest away. We have had quite a few guesses on YouTube. 37, 25, 37. A few more have just come in as well. Let's see, one has said 100. I don't think that one's going to be quite right. 25. But the correct answer is 43 meters.
Wow, that big of a change.
It is. But the interesting thing is, obviously, it goes from the highest point to the lowest point. I didn't actually check this, but I do think the lowest point is, I think it might be between Magulio and Junction. I think that's potentially the lowest point of the track. I could be wrong. It could actually be Decido de Largo. But yeah, 43 meters is the height difference. The elevation change is absolutely massive. So yeah, Caribbean Crush was miles away with 3.6 meters. Coming to get you wasn't much better with 10. But I did say that it will be the same amount of times as Coming to Get You swore after his race in Mexico, so I'm guessing he swore about 43 times. So there we go. Okay, time to bring this towards an end then. So thank you once again to all of the drivers for taking part in the World Series reserves. Thank you to Coming to Get You for joining us on commentary once again. Thank you to Bleeding Sunrise. Oh no, sorry, he's not here this week, is he? Congratulations to Bleeding Sunrise for taking part in his sporting event today and apparently winning it, I believe. And I've heard he's quite tired, but he probably didn't tell all the girls that as he was flexing his muscles. He's going to hate me for that if he hears this anyway. Okay, so yeah, if you want to get involved in Front Row Racing, as we mentioned before, come and check out Front Row Racing on Facebook. I will pop a link in the description as well. This has been round 20. We've got round 21 for the reserves in 2 weeks' time in Abu Dhabi. But you can join us next Wednesday for the World Championship, round 20 in Brazil, on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. And then on a Thursday for the World Series, again, round 20 in Brazil. And that is the event that these guys are trying to get themselves into. Dave, any final thoughts, any final comments?
So just to close up, it was a fantastic race. I mean, the past 2 days, we've seen a lot of crashes, a lot of weather change. So tune in next week, guys, because you see the bigger boys going out fighting for their championship points, and those guys will not be holding back. So feel free to tune in and see what these guys have got around here, Brazil. Other than that, to the guys tonight, fantastic showing. Keep it up, guys. And if there's one more thing I could say, feel free to skim the rules because you never know when you're going to get a permanent seat.
Exactly, well said. We'll mention as well that on Wednesday in the World Championship, the Drivers' Championship has been wrapped up by Mr. Hamilton 44, but the Constructors' title is still up for grabs between Mr. Hamilton 44's team, Danish Dragons Red Bull. Him and Bleeding Sunrise are battling it out with Temp Fear and whoever he picks as a reserve driver for next Wednesday's event in the Fearless Trailblazers Mercedes, so still a title to fight for in that one. And on Thursday, the Constructors' title has already been claimed by the Mercedes drivers, petrol pumpers Mercedes of Hindle and Konzo. But make sure you come and join us to see which one of those two is going to come away with the championship out of the final 2 rounds. It's heating up in Brazil. The pressure is going to be on. We're going to have to wait and see how it's all going to pan out. Anyway, this has been the Front Row Racing World Series Reserves. Thank you very much for watching, for commenting. Make sure you like and subscribe and come and check us out. And we'll see what the future holds. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again soon. And the baby says goodbye as well.